Hi, everyone. I'm Taylor Combaluzier, a mining analyst at Red Cloud Securities. This session of our Oktoberfest Fall Mining Showcase will feature Westhaven Gold Corp. We'd like to thank Pear Tree for sponsoring this session. Westhaven primarily explores for gold as well as silver. It owns 100% interest in 4 properties, including the Shovel Nose, Prospect Valley, Skookumka Creek, and Skookumka North gold projects covering about 37,000 hectares in British Columbia. From the company, we have with us Gareth Thomas, President and CEO. I'll note that if any attendees have questions, to just type them in through the Q&A link and we'll get to them at the end of the session. The presentation is also available on the conference website. And with that, I'll turn it over to Gareth to guide us through the story.
Thank you, Taylor, and thank you to Red Cloud for having us today. As mentioned, my name is Gareth Thomas, and I'm the President and CEO of Westhaven Gold Corp. Today, I'll be talking about our projects on the Spence's Bridge Gold Belt in southwestern British Columbia. Sorry. I will be making some forward-looking statements, so please keep that in mind for the duration of the presentation. Westhaven made a major gold discovery, a major high-grade gold discovery in late 2018. We drilled 17.7 meters at 24.5 grams per ton gold and a little over 100 grams per ton silver at our Shovel Nose, flagship Shovel Nose project on the southwestern end there of the Spence's Bridge Gold Belt. There's a map of BC on your left there, and there's a picture of the Coquihalla Highway, which runs right through our claims there, our Shovel Nose project. I will be talking primarily about Shovel Nose today, but we do have 4 projects covering a little over 37,000 hectares, as Taylor mentioned there, large land package with district scale potential. And we also have a 2.5% net smelter royalty on an additional 70,000 hectares on the Spence's Bridge Gold Belt. I'll be looking at a map a little bit more zoomed in here shortly. And another big takeaway here is that management insiders, I should say, own 25% of the shares outstanding. We have a little over 126 million shares outstanding, 146 million shares fully diluted. Today we're sitting with a working cap of about $6.5 million, which will get us well into 2022, fully funded for our current work program, 2 rigs turning, and we will have an inferred resource, as mentioned there in the first slide, or as on the first slide there. We were aiming for Q4 this year, but due to some halt of 4 weeks of fires, we may be looking at early Q1 2022. We recently just got initiation buy rating from their Taylor Combaluzier, who you just introduced me here. And we also have a outperform rating from Raymond James at $1.10 a share. As mentioned, 25% of our shares are insider held. We also had a $15 million financing in March of this year, which had the likes of Merck, Franklin, Gold 2000, and we also have a group named Plethora Precious Metals, which have been shareholders for quite some time. And we are listed on the, our warrants are listed as well under the symbol WHN.WT. Here's a look at the Spence's Bridge Gold Belt. You'll see on the map on the left there of BC, you'll see Vancouver, and inset here, you'll see the Spence's Bridge Gold Belt. And as mentioned, I'll primarily be speaking about our Shovel Nose project today, where most of our work this year has been focused there. And you'll see in a very good jurisdiction, you got Canada's largest open pit mine, the Highland Valley Copper Mine, just off to the east of our Skookumka North project. You got New Gold's New Afton up to the north of there, and you got Copper Mountain in production just down to the south as well. So very good mining jurisdiction. You'll see our 4 properties there, as mentioned, a little over 37,000 hectares and 2.5% NSR we have on an additional 70,000 hectares, which fall within 5 kilometers radius of all 4 of our projects there. And that ground is held by Talisker. Here's a relatively new slide for some people who are familiar with Westhaven. This was actually something I just wanted to, it's often overlooked there, we don't talk about enough, is the Fraser River Gold Rush. and really something that was never sourced in terms of a load source for mining. And if you see my mouse there, just here at the convergence of the Thompson River and the Nickaman drainage, coarse gold was found there in 1857, and that led to what is known as the Fraser River Gold Rush, which brought 20,000 people to the area, and really is what formed British Columbia. So interestingly enough, our 4 projects happen to be sort of in certain periphery of this Fraser River. So we like to think that gold's coming from somewhere near there. So we're in a pretty interesting area, and this Spence's Bridge Gold Belt had never really been explored for low gold really since early 2000s, when a prospector by the name of Ed Ballon was started looking around this area, and here we are today. Shovel Nose Gold Project there, as mentioned, our flagship, 2.5-hour drive from Vancouver, 30 minutes from Merritt. That's from drill pad right into the town, right on the Coquihalla. The area you see there in yellow, the yellow square is about 5 kilometers from the highway. We got power line just to the north, the major one. We actually have a smaller one that runs right through our south zone. And as you can see there from this image, very heavily logged, lots of forestry roads, over 450 kilometers of roads on the project. And this really leads to low cost year-round exploration. So that yellow square there, I'm just going to be zooming in just to give you an idea of the south zone in the area we've been focused on to date. But the majority of this project has had little exploration work done on it, and we're actively working there right now, boots on ground, lots of geologists in the field, and we got lots of interesting things that we'll be putting out in the near future about what's happening regionally. But I'm just going to zoom into that square here, and the south zone down to the bottom right there, the southeast. That's our where we'll be doing our inferred, our inaugural maiden resource will be coming from the south zone. And recently announced, just earlier this summer, we announced the 15.97 meters of 9.15 grams per ton gold up here in the FMN zone. That was newly discovered late last year, and we've now traced that for about 500 meters. And Franz, this was an outcrop that was discovered late last year as well, as 7.78 meters of 14.84 grams per ton gold. Very little drilling done in those 2 areas, FMN and Franz. So we have one rig now focused up at the FMN, and we have another rig focused on some more regional geophysical targets, which I'll touch on here shortly as well. But 4 kilometers, we've now traced this vein zone 1-4, and not a ton of drilling between, really, besides the south zone. So these low sulfidation epithermal systems are very drill intensive. So that's what we're doing right now, is trying to piece together a lot of these zones, and we're pretty optimistic about what's coming from that. Here's a long section of that map there. You see the south zone obviously on the right there, where a good portion of our drilling has been done to date. About half the drilling this year was done for that initial inferred resource. As you move to the left or to the northwest there, you'll see the Alpine, Tower Mick, FMN, and Franz. And we have a rig focused now in the FMN. This hole is awaiting assays there, but interesting. Not a ton of drilling here, as you can see, compared to the south zone, but we think we're going to be certainly expanding this area up at FMN, seeing some really interesting things in core. And our Peter and the technical team are getting a real good idea of what's happening there. So lots of news to come from FMN. Here is the FMN, another sort of 3D look at this from, as I mentioned there, the 500 meters of strike from back, we announced this, I think, in December of last year, the 19, almost 20 meters of 2.62 grams per ton up to 140 grams silver. And then just in June there, we announced the 15.97 meters of 9 grams. So the drill's back turning, and we're actually drilling. All these holes have been from the northeast to the southwest. Peter wasn't convinced that was the right way to be drilling. So we're now back or below here on the southwest, drilling to the northeast. And we have about 16 targets there that are currently being drilled. So lots of news coming out of the FMN here in the coming months. And as mentioned, we have some regional targets that we're actively looking at as well. So we did a big CSAMT program last year in 2020. We did a lot of CSAMT, DC resistivity. So these targets, as you see the south zone there outlined in the red circle, you see the vein zones 1, vein zone 2, and vein zone 3 show up in that highly resistive anomaly there. So that's what we're looking at in terms of when we look at these targets here, these CSAMT targets. So right now we have a rig currently focused in this area, drilling these CSAMT targets. And obviously we're hoping to find more things similar to the south zone. And yeah, we like what we see, certainly in the right rock over there as well. Here's just a look at, on your left of this chart, you'll see market cap essentially. Then on the right, you'll see a grade thickness with meter grams gold. You'll see shovel nose pretty far down there in market cap to where our initial gold intercepts were. So just to give people an example of where we're at, and there's going to be more of these thick grades coming, I'm sure of it. And just being cognizant of time here, shovel nose, we've kind of cheaply superimposed this onto the Hishikari vein swarm, which is arguably one of the best low sulfidation epithermal mines in the world. And just to put that in perspective, just for scale there, where we're looking at the south zone. So as mentioned, we got a large property here and lots of exploration to be done. Cognizant of time, I won't go through everyone here, but there's a look of our management and board and advisors. And moving forward, Catalyst, ongoing 40,000 meter drill program. We're already at about 36,000 meters, so that will likely be expanded. Lots of results coming from South Zone still out. We're finished drilling, but results still coming out. And the FMN zone, as mentioned, and CSAMT, DC resistivity targets being drilled as we speak. And of course, our maiden resource at South Zone will be out year end or at the latest early in January 2022. Yeah, thank you very much for taking the time.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Gareth. So we'll turn to the Q&A session now. We do have some questions that have come in. So first one up, just wondering about the Romeo area. Somebody's wondering if how many holes were drilled there, and have you seen anything interesting at that zone?
Yeah, good question. Romeo, we haven't got results back from Romeo, but we will likely in the next news release, which we're hoping, obviously, I'm not going to slag on the assay, the slow assays that are coming, but we are hoping to have Romeo out. Seeing some interesting things, but we certainly have focus elsewhere at the moment, but we actually still have a rig on Romeo as we speak. But yeah, we will have assays out from Romeo, seeing lots of evidence of higher up epithermal system, but needs a lot of work still.
Okay, great. Another question, just wondering about the metallurgical work testing that you're doing. What sort of testing are you doing?
Metallurgy will all be out in our resource report, as mentioned, year end or early January 2022. And I should just follow up on that in terms of the resource. Like I said, we fell back about 4 to 6 weeks based on being evacuated from the shovel nose for the fire, which we want to get these last holes into the resource. Hence, it's a fairly good reason to be postponing it. It's not for any other reason that we just want to make sure that we're getting everything that we can in there. So yeah, but yeah, that will all be in the resource report, and all I can say is it's looks very, what you'd expect from this type of low sulfidation epithermal system.
Okay, perfect. So we are just out of time now. So I would like to thank Gareth for presenting Westhaven Gold to us this afternoon.